Well, you might notice that I'm a little banged up here. It's all the fault of this two-wheeler over here. I had it up and was putting air in the tires, and I took it off the bench and I set it down, and the bottom part that wood is attached to it went down first, and when it went down, the thing is kind of heavy, it went back like that, and the top part of it come back and hit me right in the eye. And so that's what you see. But I'll live. I did bleed a little bit though. It broke some skin, my old rotten skin. Just cracked in two right there. But what we're going to do today is we're going to tune this puppy up, I think. So let me show you a few things on here. If I had something to point with, let me get this wire out of the way. All right, so these are the points right here. Let's do this as well. These are the points right here. And this is the point gap. This is a battery ignition on this particular motorcycle, not a magneto ignition. So, there's a couple of adjustments here. There's an adjustment down here, or here. You loosen up this lock nut, and you can screw this little pin in and out, and you set that so that the gap right here is 0.3 millimeters. Okay? Once you get that set, then we go into the whole thing about getting the cylinder to top dead center. We've got the dial gauge in here now. It's not dial, it's digital, but anyway, it'll work. So once we get to that, we'll show you what we're doing there. All right. First thing I'm going to do is set the point gap. These are the points right here, and this is the point gap. This is a battery ignition on this particular motorcycle, not a magneto ignition. So, there's a couple of adjustments here. There's an adjustment down here, or here. You loosen up this lock nut, and you can screw this little pin in and out, and you set that so that the gap right here is 0.3 millimeters. Okay? Once you get that set, then we go into the whole thing about getting the cylinder to top dead center. We've got the dial gauge in here now. It's not dial, it's digital, but anyway, it'll work. So once we get to that, we'll show you what we're doing there. All right. First thing I'm going to do is set the point gap. And the point gap on these is 0.3 millimeters. So we want to run this until the point's open. They're open right about there. I don't know if you could see that. Hopefully you could. Let me put some light on it. So you see right here, that point gap will go closed. You can see it. All right, it's open right now. And what we want to do is check that point to see if this 0.3 millimeters fits in there loosely or tightly. And it's very loose, as a matter of fact. So we need to find a wrench that fits that. And I don't have any light anymore, do I? Yep. So, I'll either go find another battery. Let me see if I can get this in there now. How's it doing? I think it's just perfect where it's at. Now if I can lock it down without changing it, that'll be a definite plus. I'm pretty sure that has a slot in it. Yep, it does. Let me get that right. And I got to hold it right there with that hand while I tighten the lock nut down with the other. And that wrench isn't right. No, it's too big. I don't know that I have one that'll fit it. No. And I bought a set of metric mini wrenches. Are you recording? You are, aren't you? Yep. But you're not now. Backwards until this shows about 2.2 or 2.3, somewhere in that area. We just want to overshoot the mark and then approach it in the direction that the motor's turning. So you keep an eye on the mark up there, and we'll go backwards. There we are. So, what do we do now? Well, we got a light here. You can do that with these. They're not, it's a battery ignition rather than a magneto. So this works real well. We're going to tie that one to ground. And we're going to jump on that. Now, you can see that the light is on. In other words, the points are closed. What we want to do is turn the motor until we're back to our 1.8 up here, moving in the direction that the engine moves in. It's really touchy. You just breathe on it. All right about there. There we go. 1.8. All right. Now, at 1.8, the points should just be opening. In other words, this light will go out. So, let me get a screwdriver and we'll loosen up this. I just stepped on the down button here. All right, so we'll loosen this up. Not completely loose, but just enough. All right, now we want to adjust this till the point's open, right at this point. Yeah, it's not going to move. There's got to be another screw. There is. I see it. All right. But I forgot something. Now we got to go back and do it all over again. I did that on purpose, you know. All right. I need to find something to block these out. They're pretty sloppy, but they do move. So I think maybe a piece of cardboard stuck down here and out here, cereal box or something. I'll be right. All right, we're back. All right, I got some gasket material here. That should work for that one. And that one. This one off. But I haven't moved it. So let's do it again. Although it's open. Okay. We want it to be right there. Okay. That timing should be set at 1.8 before top dead center. Now, if you look down here, break off in there? No. You look down here, somebody has got this little marker set up and it's exactly right on the mark for that. So, if we tighten down those screws, we should have our timing set. All right, there's a couple of things I want to do here. First of all, I want to put a bunch of grease on that. Or not a bunch, but a little bit of grease on the cam. So we'll just use some grease out of the old grease gun here. And let's see, what will we use to spread it with? Let's first of all clean this nozzle off. It's been used for farm machinery here. We're going to be doing some, not farm machinery, but lawn and garden stuff here pretty soon. Alright, I got me a little dab of stuff here. And I want to put some oil on this so this moves properly. I think I'll put a little more on it. Kind of spread that around. Alrighty. Throw things around. Jack. Why are you red? Recording, I guess. Alright, so our timing should be right. Let's get the oil can. There it is. Laying there leaking all over the place. Alright. Let's put a little down in there. Let's turn it over. Put a little down in there. Alrighty, I explained this in another video one time about battery ignitions. What happens for the largest part of the stroke here, or the cycle, the points are closed, and when the points are closed, they're drawing current through the ignition coil up here. And as long as they're drawing current through there, they're building up a field around that coil. So when we short it out, or when we open it up, I mean, then there's nothing to maintain that field around the coil anymore, and it collapses. And it collapses suddenly. So when it does that, it induces a voltage, a very high voltage, in the secondary winding of the coil. So that secondary winding feeds the spark plug. I'll see if I can find the video that I explained that on. So, I think our timing's set right. I got to change the clutch cable yet. Clean this up a little bit, maybe. It's been leaking all over in here. Not to mention all the oil that comes from oiling the chain. These always are a pain in the butt here. Let me show you. This little guy right here. First thing you got to do is probably give it some slack from up above by taking it off up there. Take it off the handle. Then I think you push this through, and then you can push this round part there back through. I'm not real sure, but we're going to find out. I'm going to get some needle nose, and I'm going to take the cable off at the top end, and I'll be back. All right, well, the timing's all set. She's all buttoned up down there. The clutch cable's been replaced. I've probably got to put a cable tie or two on it yet. But I got to put some oil in her, which I'll do as soon as I'm checking out here. I think we need to see if it's going to run. So let's see if we can just set this camera someplace. That looks like a good place for it. Let me take a trip over to the other side because I might have to kick it to start it. I've started it 2 or 3 times already before on this battery without a charge. So we'll see if it'll start. We need to make sure we get the gas on. We do. And of course it's leaking out of the carb. Why do they all do that? I don't know. All right, so we'll pull the choke. Because I haven't put the oil in it yet. But I need to do that right now. So let me see what it says. Does it say how much? Oh, it might. It says oil, 750 milliliters. Well, the bench just collapsed on me here. All right. You know, I think this thing is leaking I'm gonna have to have Yamaha Enduro rebuild my oil pump. I'm pretty sure it's leaking out of there. Maybe not, but we'll find out. 750 milliliters of 10W30. That's not it. High mileage 10W30. Motor oil. I know I should use stuff designed for motorcycles, but I don't. All right, 750. Where are you at there? 1, 2, 3, 750. $700, and just a touch more because some will stay in the container. All right. Let me soak up some of this oil down here and see. Make sure it's not still leaking in there. Well, I don't see any leaking right now. I guess we'll know in the morning. I gotta remember to turn the gas off on these things. I've never had one that carb didn't leak on. No matter how much time and money you spend on those carbs, they just tend to leak if you leave the gas on. So, off it goes. And that's all for today.